Welcome to another episode of Trading WTF. Today we have special guests Alex Geralis and Matt Giannino. I'm Michael Buchbinder, managing partner of Scandinavian Capital Markets. Trading WTF, we like to let where to focus. We like to help traders out, give them some knowledge, and provide some useful information to help them know that they're not in this alone. We've all been in your shoes in the same situation. In this episode, we're going to discuss various elements of risk management with our guests. Some of the topics we'll cover are how to pick trades and know when they are no longer valid, how to recover from losses, how to grow an account, and how to utilize compounding and more. Alex Geralis joins us from Spotware, the company behind the cTrader platform. Any forex traders watching will know it as the rival of MetaTrader. Alex is a hobby trader, mostly trading options and cryptocurrencies. He has spent a few years as a bunker trader. I have no idea what that is, but we'll find out. Trading marine fuels and lubricants, and worked as an oil and gas analyst for MEES, Middle East Economic Survey. Before the crypto boom in 2017, he was a writer at CoinTelegraph. Alex was a professional conductor, speaks several languages, and has lived in most continents. Matt Giannino provides educational content and courses to help students gain financial and stock market literacy. He graduated engineering, but decided to pursue an athletic career as a professional runner for 5 years. After suffering an injury, he began trading stocks. He became addicted after achieving some amazing achievements and wanted to share the knowledge he gained, leading him to turn what he knew into a business. Matt's YouTube channel has over 60,000 subscribers and growing. His videos regularly get hundreds of thousands of views. That's how I found him. I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. We got to get Matt on the show. Matt, would you like to elaborate on your introduction, how you got first involved with trading, and if you got to leave us with a disclaimer, please let us take it away.
Yeah. Let me just move the mic closer. So yeah, got started out like you said, injured runner, had some free time, broke as most post grads are out of college, and yeah, I just got into the stock market. My dad was talking about it, my friend. I had no clue what it was, hadn't traded any stocks for my whole life, and just went in like everyone does and trades Tesla. And this was like 7 years ago, so just goes to show you how crazy Tesla was for the whole life of the stock. Trading at $180 pre-split. So profitable the first week, and went into options and just started blowing up accounts left and right. And yeah, just found some consistency finally. I'm pretty pumped to say that.
Nice. Alex, looks like you got an Ethereum chair you're sitting on or something like that. See it on the right behind you.
All right, it's my gaming throne.
The gaming throne, got it. Would you like to elaborate on your introduction, how you first got involved with trading, and if you need to drop a disclaimer, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously nothing I say or do is investment advice as well. In regards to trading, so I think like most people, my first introduction was, FX and CFDs were just blowing up around Europe like crazy, especially here in Cyprus. We had, over 300-400 brokers at some point. And I was a student. I loaded up an account with, I think it was $250, $300. And I decided that buying sugar, is a good investment. And a few minutes later, the account was blown. So that was like my YOLO casino phase, if you'd like. But the first time I kind of, decided to take it seriously was I got paid for something in Bitcoin. And first of all, that immediately kind of, spins everything around in regards to what my money means and how can I store it and how can I send it without an intermediary and so on and so forth. But altcoins were booming. So this was like April 2017. And I guess that's how I first kind of stepped into trading with a more serious, portfolio kind of mindset, if you like. And as we know, 2017 was phenomenal. It was very difficult to lose money. So it was a good education.
Anytime you lose money, that's a good education that you can get back up from that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of questions. I'm probably going to throw them out, and then they probably apply to both of you. So once I throw it out, if you have some comments you want to jump in, please feel free. First one I'm going to throw out at Matt. Do you remember? Oh, you already talked about your first trade. Do you remember your first trade? Can you describe it?
Yeah, I just buying like a couple shares of Tesla and went up like $50, and I made up $50 tutoring in an hour, and I made $50 on Tesla in like a couple hours without even doing anything. So it was crazy. I didn't realize how amazing the market was and what an opportunity it was.
What made you pick Tesla?
I think it's just the hype stock, even back in the day. Like, everyone's talking about it. And back then it was just like one car. They had the S, and nobody I knew owned it. It was like one of those things where only the rich people own Teslas, and now like everybody's a Tesla. So it was like way back in the day where it wasn't even mainstream yet.
I remember the first time I was in a Tesla, I was probably in Amsterdam, rushing to the airport with like 40 minutes to get there, and like we were probably an hour outside the airport. And you can imagine what kind of things happen in Amsterdam. And I'm just getting into the cab, pulling myself in there, and I'm like, whoa, it's a Tesla. And the guy was like the transporter, shaved head and wearing those gloves. I was like, we got 30 minutes to get to the airport. I got to catch my flight. And I felt like puking in the back seat the way that thing could accelerate. So that was my first experience with a Tesla. I was like, just pass out, Michael. Pass out so you don't puke.
But you made it.
Yeah. I was crawling to the airplane, and everybody was like, "Are they gonna let this guy on the plane?" I was like, "Yeah." As soon as I get on the plane, I fall asleep, and my head falls on the guy next to me, and he's like trying to move me the entire time. I was dead. It was a fun time. Go Tesla. Alex, you mentioned the first product you traded was sugar. What made you pick sugar CFDs? Where the heck do you get sugar CFDs? How do you find that?
It's on a broker's website, which their name starts with plus and it ends with a number, and just terrible interface, terrible trading experience. I had no idea what a CFD was. I was taught very quickly what leverage was.
What can you tell us about leverage? What was that lesson you learned over there?
It's not free money. I'll tell you that. Every dollar you use is you're paying for it in one way or another.
Man. Do you trade with leverage now, or how do you treat leverage?
Yeah, I do. So what I'm predominantly doing now is I still do a lot of things in crypto. So I have the spreads are still very good. So I have some low leverage spreads, just 2x to kind of get it a little bit more exposure, but still not risk blowing out. And then I'm also doing a lot less Bitcoin options, even though the liquidity is much better. The skews have just made it incredibly difficult right now. I think the best thing you can do is just try write options and hedge yourself against the BTC collateral. And then outside of that, I'm also doing like intraday. I've got a stock account which is predominantly like small cap stocks from 50 to 350 million. Just rubbish stocks that I don't know why people buy them, and I just short them, and it works phenomenally well. So a little bit of leverage there too.
Matt, what do you feel about leverage? Do you use it? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, options are leverage. I use options all the time, and not that bad because like you don't owe your broker anything for borrowing the money. It's just like leverage that you're paying for the price of time decay. So I like that type of leverage. I used BitMEX. Is that the leverage Bitcoin platform?
Yeah, BitMEX was quite huge.
Yeah, BitMEX is horrifying. That was an interesting time. I don't think I
100x.
ever saw that money. I don't think it ever came back out.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they are the house, man. They phenomenal volumes.
Isn't that guy working on his a treaty to come to Hawaii from Singapore?
Yes, yes, he's actually decided to hand himself in. I understand the English guy as well. The third guy is kind of incognito, if you will. And man, what a story! You know, from working at Citi and Deutsche to being fired in Hong Kong to, you know, becoming a billionaire off of this strange drug money thing to now, unfortunately, being arrested. What a ride!
Well, yeah, are we making Bitcoin legitimate though? It's no longer drug money. It's
Yeah. Now
it's imaginary money now, right?
now it's digital assets.
Yeah. But I guess the Bitcoin has been washed enough times in between people's hands, and now it's getting to the legal hands, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was watching an interview with Kevin O'Leary, and he said he doesn't want to own anything that's not a new Bitcoin. And he said most of the hedge funds want to own a clean coin, so it's not tied to anything like that. And so what they're doing is mining their own stuff, and the hedge funds want to buy stuff held in America, mined in America, and clean. So that's a big concern.
Yeah, they say that would be a wonderful thing, but I bet you if you trace back all of the coins that were bought by those hedge funds and the early ones, you'd probably find something dirty over there if you traced it back far enough, which sure you can. But
well, they're only taking fresh coins, like just got mined today.
Well, who cares? It's like what? It's over 70K now, so we're breaking into 70K. So
yes,
it's all about the money. I guess you both trade options, so I might just go a little off script over here. Maybe can you give a little description what options are, and what options trading is, and for the people watching? I'll start with Matt.
Yeah, options trading is just using leverage on a stock or an ETF. I don't know what else they have them for, but you're paying like pennies for the opportunity to get 100 shares of leverage, and you're just paying for what you get on the downside is that time decay. So options decay a percentage every day, and depending on your expiration date, it could be really insane. It could be like 10% loss in a day. So you got to be careful with that time decay.
What do you say over there, Alex?
Yeah, I mean that's right. It's a really nice product because you can limit your losses. You know, if you're just buying and puts and calls, then you're only limited to the premium that you paid for them. And as Matt said, you have at least in stocks, you have the buying power of 100 shares in that contract. And it's especially in the last year, people with the Robinhood frenzy, it's just like volumes have been insane. So liquidity has gone a lot better there too.
Volumes have been insane. So I guess the volatility with regards to the volumes, how has that like affected pricing and the moves that take place?
Yeah, it pushes up premiums, man. The premiums were quite expensive, and then also, because we had the whole Corona volatility event, that crash, the VIX was elevated for a long time, so that also is factored into those premiums.
Yeah, I can tell you the volumes and volatility have been affecting real estate prices back in Toronto. I'm like, I got to go back home and buy a house, and it's like, wow, everything just keeps just going up. So I think it's like you're seeing a lot more people online trading. I think it's also a factor of like the gig economy. So a lot more people, with the gig economy, they got to find other ways to make some coin, as you might say, and I think they're looking to the trading in the different markets to do so. And we're seeing a whole new generation of traders popping up right in front of us.
But let me ask you a question, Michael. As a broker, what do you think will happen when people start, I don't know, going back to work and so on? And I mean, will volumes go back to normal, or have these people been exposed to it and they will want to stay exposed to this kind of new opportunity, if you like?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. There's going to be, number one, a lot of jobs have been automated, and there's a huge talk of universal income coming out across the world right now. So I think this is something that's here to stay. I don't really know how many people are really going to be going back to work if their jobs were erased. I think we did see a lot of people saying, you know what, I got to make some extra income. I'm not really working right now. I'm staying from home. But what happens if those jobs have gone away based on digitization and not going back to the office? I think a lot of the working pool has shrunk as a result. I think you always get the people who think they're going to become star traders and they wash out quickly and they go away, and then you get a resilient population where they learn and they don't see a loss as the end of the day. They pick themselves back up, they learn, they formulate their strategies. So I think this is really only the beginning, and with digital currencies coming out and you can digitize assets like with NFTs and stuff like that, I definitely see people being able to, and Binance is coming out with stocks where you can buy, sell stocks and pieces of stocks through Binance and the other exchanges. So I think people are going to be, paying for their lunch or dinner with a Nike stock as long as the market can continue to evolve. So I think we're heading into an interesting place. Who knows where the world will turn in that aspect, but I'm excited for it. You can either be afraid or excited, and I choose to be excited, and just hopefully we can be one step ahead of that.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, how have views picked up for your channel with everything? Because I think that could be also a good indicator of where everyone's looking to trade.
Yeah. What do you mean looking to trade?
Well, people are getting into the market. They're looking to learn and understand. So I can imagine a lot of people are coming to your videos and trying to understand the markets, what to do, try and get some little tidbits.
Yeah, we surveyed our subscribers on our paid products, and about half of them have just started trading in the last 2 months. So it's a very huge swing of people just coming in for the first time and going straight to options, which is pretty scary. But that's why I'm putting stuff on YouTube to shorten that learning curve, as they say.
Yeah, well, I think there's going to be a lot of hard lessons, but hopefully we can save a few of them.
For sure.
Jumping back to the questions, well, that was a little bit about options. I'm sure there'll be a bunch more. Alex, can you elaborate a bit on what it means to be a bunker trader? I imagine it's quite different to the type of trading cTrader is used for.
Yeah, absolutely. You're correct. cTrader is a specialized FX CFD trading platform. Bunkers are basically the fuel that a ship burns. They still call it bunkers to this day. So a bunker trader is responsible to, first of all, find supply from a supplier at a various port and have it loaded onto the vessel. So you are exposed to the price of oil because it's the marine fuel oil is a derivative of crude oil. So you always have a price up on your screen and probably some different prices for different ports. But it's a very low risk business in a way that you immediately lock in some spread. So you're buying from a supplier and on the spot selling to the vessel with some credit. That's your added value. And you're making a very small percentage. So most of these firms work with like 1.5% profit. So it's not much.
Oh, so bunker is the fuel that you sell. Okay. I thought it was like you're in a bunker and you're trading and you're just like, let me focus.
Well, that might be cool though. That might be a cool show for Twitch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, having all your screens open and swearing at everybody as you trade. Isn't that what happens when you play video games? Eat that, you little...
There you go.
And you're probably talking to a 6-year-old kid on the other end. He's probably talking harder smack back to you. And then you go down, and then you go hard on that kid, and then his mom's listening. He's like, "What are you saying to my kid?" Right? But,
yeah.
I guess that's where the next generation of traders are going to evolve, is through Twitch.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of traders that are streaming, especially in crypto community. They just live stream and trade, and there's I mean, I can't do it personally. I don't like watching other people trade. I find it like, watching paint dry, but I guess there's an audience for that.
Yeah. Maybe that's another business for Jeff Bezos to spin off of from his flywheel over there. It's like, sees everybody trading video games. He owns Twitch, so
yeah, they bought him out. That's right.
What isn't he going to own over there?
Apparently owns everything.
Pretty much. They remind me of like Rakuten. Rakuten's involved with everything. They also do trading as well.
Oh yeah, massive brokerages.
Oh yeah,
that side of the world.
Definitely. Matt, have you ever speculated on the oil and gas sector? I don't think you've traded bunkers, but
no, I stay away from oil and gas just because people using it is just decreasing every year. So I want to be in disruptive tech, not really disrupted tech.
Got it. And Alex, do you see what happened to tankers? Or it must have been fun trading when oil went to -40 last year.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, I wasn't. I'd already left bunkers a while ago, but I did contact some like ex-trader friends and colleagues, and it was just absolutely insane. And some brokers had massive losses because of this.
Oh yeah, and I don't think anyone could buy at -40, right? They made it like.
Like interactive brokers, their charts were never designed to go sub-zero, so they just broke, and the quotes broke, and therefore they actually had to eat the loss for the clients because the client could not execute on the interface.
They actually handled it very well, interactive brokers. I got to give them kudos for how they handled that. They ate it. They're a well-capitalized company, and I think they did what was right in that matter.
100%, yeah.
And I guess, Matt, going back to disruptive technology, how do you pick a trade? How much due diligence is involved?
Just picking a trade.
You're throwing it back at me. Just pick a trade.
Are you saying just picking the trade?
Or how do you pick your trades? And what kind of due diligence is involved?
I generally, if I'm trading with the group, we generally spend 2 hours just charting, and then when we find our top 10 plays, I'll just pick my favorite 3, and we'll day trade, swing trade those for the next couple of days. And yeah, just companies based off of technical analysis. So we trade wedges and triangles. It seems simple, but it's pretty effective.
That's pretty cool that you do it as a group. So that, like, lots of times I've seen people giving advice and then doing something else, and everybody else just gets stuck in it. So I think that's definitely a good sign when you're picking it together and you're doing that. I think that gives a lot of confidence to the people inside your community with you, and shows that you know what you're doing, and also gives them a little bit of an edge. But you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink sometimes. And even if you do pick those trades with them, they can still just mess it up, even when they do that. So, and that's when they come back and they're like, "Well, I did exactly what you told me to do." Well, did you?
Yeah, execution's a big thing. I mean, like how well did they execute that trade? How well did they manage their risk? So, like, there's a lot of, I feel like now there's a lot of good education out there, mostly scam education, but there's a lot more good education. But then you still have to be the guy clicking the buttons, so you have to have the confidence and the aptitude to cut a loss when you have to cut it, as hard as it is.
Yeah. I guess I'll throw the same question at you, Alex. How do you pick a trade, and what kind of due diligence is involved with that?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, for what as I mentioned, I'm predominantly doing now, it's spreads in Bitcoin. So it's just really based on grabbing the best spread. So daily, I'm looking at the spreads and seeing. Especially if Bitcoin gets volatile, if the underlying gets volatile, you might be able to lock in something a little bit extra special, or you might be able to exit something at a lot early and grab 80% of your profits and free up your capital. And then, also in the stocks, at this point, it's pretty systematic. I have categories of market cap, short float percentage, institutional ownership. I know I have statistics about how much they spike up. If they run above, for example, if a stock runs above 80%, it's probably got a likelihood of going 150%. So I'm not going to take it if it's above 80% because I know that my edge there is, there's a lot more pain than profits. It's just very systematic at this point, man. So good trading is sometimes, I mean, it's still a sport, right? You still have to execute and try fight for price, but good trading is often boring trading.
Yeah, I like how you call it a sport. Sports aren't always boring unless you're playing baseball and maybe golf, or watching golf could be boring.
Sure.
Are you finding any market inefficiencies that are easy to take advantage of in the crypto space? That was something I was talking about with another trader the other day.
Yeah. There's always something, but looking at things from 2017, I didn't have kind of the skills I have now, but I can tell you that things have only gotten harder. So there was a time when you could get 40% on spreads, basically risk free. Right now, the year started out close to 28%, 29%. Now, if you can do 20% annually, so the spreads are going to get tighter. And in the beginning, people were not trading a lot of options, so the liquidity wasn't there. But at the same time, because the book wasn't very full, a Deribit was doing like 5 million a day. Now they do like 5 billion a day in the options. Because the book wasn't very full, it needed a small movement in Bitcoin to really push up the price, right, and some buyers. But things tend to get more efficient. Right now, there's still a lot of inefficiencies in DeFi, and that's why if you venture out there, there's still great returns. But it's not always as easy as it seems,
Well, there's always that one guy on Instagram, right? And then everybody else in the comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I just noticed your shirt over there, Matt. All-Star Trader. How do I get one of those?
Yeah, this is some merch we designed for one of the products we just released. It's an option selling filter site. So, like Alex was saying, options, like you could sell them 2 months ago, maybe make 15-20% return in a week, which is insane. And now those returns are chopped in half because the volatility dropped so much in the market. It's just crazy what's been happening. But yeah, their team is designing a lot of cool merch.
So you sign up for the course and you get the shirt, Michael.
There you go. I'd rather have an All-Star Trader shirt than a Diamond Hands shirt. Take you down to the bottom of the ocean with those
diamond bags.
Diamond bags. Alex, obviously you have a full-time job, meaning you can't watch the markets all day long. What's your trading style?
Yeah, so for the spreads, I mean, once you put on the spread, you can basically hold it to expiration. Unless I've got alerts, and if there is a spike in volatility and I might be able to juice that spread earlier, then I'll do so. So it really doesn't involve a lot of time. I mean, it's basically 10 minutes to put on the spread and maybe 5 to limit out once you locate the play. And then in regards to the small Nasdaq stocks, really, if you go out and track the data as I've done, and you collect enough data, you'll see that most of these stocks should peak, between 9:30 and 10:45 a.m. New York. So we're in a very good time zone because market opens 4:30. So by the time it's an hour in, you're already done from work. You've had some time to see what's popping. Just briefly, I look at filings. I want to see if there's a big shelf or an offering that they're gonna just unload on everybody, or if there was just some rubbish headline that people or chat rooms are pumping on, and then you just gotta wait and fight for price. So that's my intraday trades are about like 2 hours after work per day max, and I'm flat every night on that.
Well, that helps you sleep good at night.
Oh yes, yeah. I don't miss holding risk overnight. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you. What about you, Matt? I know you're in front of the charts most of the day, but you got a lot of stuff to do in terms of being there with the community, charting, putting out content. What about your trading style and making sure you're not, devoured by the computer screens all day long? I think I lost you in terms of hearing.
Sorry.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a cough. Yeah, basically, I just like to trade the first 90 minutes and the last 90 minutes, and if I got a good swing trade, I'll keep it on throughout the day, but try to make trading passive. And like Alex, I don't like risk overnight, so if I can just get my profits for the day and get out, that's kind of ideal. But I'm a big option seller now, and that's just like money that just rolls in overnight, so I'm not sure I can beat the ability to do that from trading.
Yeah, we got a question coming in here from I don't know how to pronounce the username, but it's not a swear word, so it's okay. I'll try and pronounce it. It's Age Sus Ramos. It says, I'm from Panama. I'm new here. It's like, since I've started trading, I see lots of advertisements for trading bots popping up. Are bots useful? Do you use them? What do you think of them? Who wants to go first?
Yeah. So personally, I think it's useful to try to add technology, if you'd like, to your trading. Matt Bellafiore, who puts out excellent books and even videos from S&B Capital in New York, they call it this kind of bionic trader, where you want to leverage technology, but it doesn't really mean you have to go full systematic and trade bots. But yeah, to answer that guy's question, I don't know if you really want to use somebody else's bot, because if it was that valuable, would they really sell it to you?
Giving up their market edge. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts, Matt?
I guess I've never found any gimmicks in the market to come to fruition and be useful. Usually it's just good old blood, sweat, and tears. And yeah, if you got to do something like that, I personally have never seen good returns from those things.
Yeah, I feel you. And if you do use a bot or some sort of program, it kind of only works in certain market conditions. So once
that also happens. Like a good trend following strategy in a bull market can look really good on paper, but what market are you in now?
Yeah, so you really know you need to know when to use it, when to not use it, and know when to shut it down before it destroys your account. And we've seen that happen way too often.
There you go.
Yeah. Alex, how do you determine the size of your positions? Do you follow a risk to reward technique? And I think you touched on that a little bit before, but
yeah. So for the spreads, I mean, it's just it's kind of like Matt's doing, selling options. Call it income trading. It's just a fixed percentage. And then for the active intraday trading, I have I know my edge if it goes above my ideal entry 18.6%, I know that usually it's going to lead to a lot higher. So that's my cut, 18.6%. And then in regards to position sizing, because I started that account quite small and I was open to having a little bit more risk in that account because the goal was just to grow it as quickly as possible. I found it very effective to use the data that I had. So I know the percentage of edge I should have in these stocks over time with over 200 data points. I used carry criterion with that data, and I just positioned based on the partial carry criterion, and it's been working really well. The hard part is when you have the drawdowns, you have to understand that you just have to keep doing what you were doing, because if you change something there, that's how you can mess up the returns that your system should be generating for you.
Got it. And Matt, what about you in terms of trade size positions, risk reward? How do you build those out?
Basically, I have a couple different accounts, and I found that's kind of key. Is I got a stock account, just long-term stuff. I have an option selling account. I have a trading account, and yeah, based off the market, I just decide risk to reward. So if the market's super choppy, like I'm not doing well, I won't use more than 5-10% of my capital in any one account. But if I'm doing well and the market's moving, I might scalp with 30-50% sometimes in one account, but I'm diversified in other accounts, so it's all just a game to figure out what works for you. Nothing I do is gonna be like the standard, but it takes time.
Well, it also takes some guts to be able to go 30-50% of an account in there, but you got multiple accounts, so I'm assuming it's diversification. What's the biggest loss you've ever sustained, and how do you recover from those losses? Mentally, trading, strategy.
Yeah, I took a biggest loss is probably 22K, and that was like when I was really early, and I took my account from like 3K to 45K, and then just had a terrible week and just snowballed. But when I did that, once you lose, like at that point you gotta take a break and walk away, or else you're gonna just do dumb stuff. I hear people like taking out credit card loans when they lose, and like trying to sell all this stuff that can get them quick money to get their lost money back, and that's like the dumb thing to do. You just gotta take a break and reevaluate your mental, like psychological state, your trading strategy. Like, what are you doing wrong? You got to be objective about it.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's what I usually do.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, I just won back all my money that I lost." I'm like, "Well, what were you risking to get it back?" And are you gonna do that? Are you gonna risk like that? Are you gonna take that kind of risk again and then go dig yourself a deeper hole? It's because once you lose 20, 30, 40%, you have to make back like 60 to 100% or 150% to get back where you're at. So what were you risking to do that?
Mm.
And I guess I'll throw that back over at you, Alex. In terms of what's the biggest loss you've ever sustained? How do you recover from those losses? At what point do you abandon a trade or cut losses?
Yeah. I had a massive loss. It was just under 17K on the Litecoin crash. Basically, when the whole market was crashing, and I had an amazing short. On, but it got very close to my liquidation level, and had I just held it, it would have been my most phenomenal trade ever. But instead, I panicked and I started chasing price, and I even started jumping the spread and just making all these mistakes that made the loss get a lot bigger than it should have been. But like Matt said, so I just didn't have the experience at that time to execute properly. But like Matt said, I think taking time off is what you need to do, because it's very easy to and even if you made 100 but you've lost 15, 20, that's a little 15, 20 that you risked a lot of money to get, and the last thing you want to do is go off on tilt, because we all know what happens then. I think if you can, I still have this to this day. If you can implement a max daily loss with your broker, absolutely do that. And once you hit that, yes, it will market close your positions at terrible prices, so you should never even hit that, and then you're locked out for the day. But this, where this question really goes down to is you have to protect your emotional fortitude and your emotional capital, because I think losing your emotional capital is even worse than losing your currency capital, because it's just a matter of time before you blow the account. You're not in control anymore.
Yeah, well, ego comes into that when you're talking about emotional capital. It's like you kind of put your whole self-worth into your trades. You're like, oh my God, I lost everything. I'm worthless. It's like you just mentally just destroy yourself. And it's important to have the right ego, the right amount of confidence, so you can click that button and know what you're going to make, what you're going to lose, feel comfortable. Because it's like after getting into a car accident, you're afraid to kind of drive the car again. You're like, oh, before you change lanes, you're extra careful. You're afraid to change lanes. I think trading is much of the same aspect of that. We got a bunch of.
I think I just want to add one quick note on that before we jump to a question, Michael. A friend of mine, much like Matt from the States, did really well in options, and he moved to Puerto Rico. He's got a really good way of putting it. He says trading's a really shitty way to get to understand yourself, get to know yourself.
It sounds like a philosophical comment. It's really, well, if you can get back up after a loss and learn from it, that's how you determine where you're at. If you think you're just going to get in there and make $1 million and take a loss and then just put your head down into the sand like an ostrich, I think, it's definitely figuring out who you are. And I think it's also a rite of passage. You got to blow out a couple of accounts before you can really feel.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's terrible, but this is just the nature of the market. You're stepping. You know what the problem is that it's like stepping into a room full of sharks. I mean, I wouldn't step onto a soccer field with Ronaldo, because I know that I'm just not on that level. But here, especially today with the Robin Hoods of the world, it's very easy for somebody to open an account and start trading with leverage, start trading with options, start, essentially against the best in the world. And if especially if you're leverage, if you're active and not just an investor, just dollar costing, it can, you can have a rude awakening before you start taking things seriously.
Yeah. So I got a couple of questions. Maybe I'll address those. But before they do, my marketing guys tell me do the plug. Well, there's a bunch of people asking questions. So at Scandinavian Capital Markets, we're always looking for profitable traders. We do look to fund traders. So if you go to scandinavianmarkets.com/fundmytrades, you can see what it's like to register and maybe get some extra capital behind you. But that's a quick one. Going into some questions. Where are we at? Be awful. I don't know. Being awful. I don't know. BN awful. Writes what indicators you use on your charts, if you use any.
Matt.
I program my own. That's like my favorite, and I got typical moving averages and Bollinger Band. That's about it.
So the Giannino, we got to name your indicators. the Giannino Effect, Giannino Effect.
It's called the market mover, but yeah, it could have been cooler. Now that I think about it, you're making me feel bad.
Bollinger just wrote it after his own. Okay, so I guess you're taking some of the different mathematical equations out there, making them suit your own trading needs, and building it yourself.
For me?
Yeah.
Mine?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I actually just like programmed all the indicators I normally use into one. It's kind of like a super indicator.
And Alex, you use any indicators?
Yeah, so in my intraday charts, it's just the price and volume. I have the time and sales and the order book up, and I have the VWAP on as well, but it's not like strict, long above, short beneath. It's nothing like that. So it's really just price and volume. And then on kind of like macro outlooks that I do, I'll look at the put to call ratio. There's a nice index you can find on that on TV. Some SMAs, the VIX, and yeah, just look for things to line up. It should never be a crutch, I think people just in the beginning they just indicator hop, and I don't think it works like that.
How many indicators does cTrader have on their platform? They got like a bunch.
It has everything you need, but it's it comes down to what is helping you and what are you using as a crutch.
Yeah. And Matt, you've already said you kind of develop your own indicators. Does it really matter what kind of indicators come with a charting package for where you trade or the brokers you trade with?
The one I make, I give to the people who are trading with me. Yeah. But yeah, everything else is on TradingView that I use for free.
TradingView, gotta love trading from those charts. We've got a question. Yeah, I've got a question from New York Anya. This is like butchering. Like, thank God these aren't their last names. I'm butchering. But New York Anya writes, "The loss experience is very good. Thank you for sharing. Emotional capital. Any tips on how to get it back?" I think it's like a virginity. Once you lose it, it's hard to get back. But emotional capital.
Yeah, I think the best thing you can do is first take time off, and then the next thing you can do is go back and look at that trade and really look at the chart and find out where you messed up, because if anything, you should get value from that so it doesn't happen again.
Your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, same thing we've been saying. Just if you're trading with something you're attached to, if you're already scared of losing it, you're already losing, because you're going to just do stupid stuff when you're down because you're attached to it, and you can't be attached to your money that's in your account. It's basically monopoly money. Don't even think about it as real money.
Yeah, because once you get attached to it, like you said, you probably just, you're like, no, let's move the stop loss. Let's move the stop loss. And then you just get sucked further down. And instead of it being like a 2% loss, it's a 5, 10, 20%. You're like, oh my God, my account, let's just throw everything in there. If it goes up just a little, I'll get it back. And boom, you're just killed.
Well, it can't be like money to feed your family. It can't be money to like pay your house off or to buy a house. Like, this has to be money that won't change your life if it goes up or down.
Yeah, it's well put. So speaking of that, Alex, at what point do you abandon a trade, cut your losses? Do you have that planned out before you enter?
Yeah, I do have predetermined percentage loss on the trade that I know at this point I will be exiting. These days I'm not really using hard stops anymore, just because I don't want to have them resting in the book. So once I get there, or even a little bit before, I'll probably start limiting out. But I know I will adhere to this. For somebody who, price will come to that loss and they're just going to watch it and let it go up, you need to use a hard stop. So you need to know yourself. But I know with limits I'll get better fills, so I just adhere to the rules.
Yeah. And anything on you on cutting trades out, taking losses, Matt?
Yeah, I'll never let an options trade run more than 50% down, because it never has come back for me after that point, especially the types of stuff we do. So just take it there and look for another one, because sometimes our trades move 200%, maybe. Like I could maybe get something to move 100. So if I cut it at 50, not only can I make my money back, I could actually maybe make money on the day. So just you want your money working for you instead of just whole bag holding something that's going down consistently.
And I guess, Matt, how do you grow an account over time? Use compounding? Let's not talk. Let's get over the losing part. What about making money, taking profits, and then I guess compounding your earnings?
How do I grow an account? I just do what I said. Take losses and take profits, and make sure to keep the emotions out. Yeah, it's all about, for me, option selling, having stock growth, and trading. You need 3 income streams, basically. Think about it as like diversification for your portfolio.
Nice. And what about you, Alex, in terms of growing the account, keeping that thing moving?
Yeah. So like I said, I find it very effective if you have kind of statistics on your edge. You know what your win percentage is and what your win ratio is, or at least what it should be with perfect execution. And then using Kelly criterion, you can compound it pretty quickly. So for me, with the fraction that I use, it's about 60% of my account is a full size position, and to enter a full size position, it must be my A+ setup. You know, the best of the best, like no red flags on this setup. And then the risk on that 60%, which is in the position, is 14%. So either I'll take the loss, or hopefully it goes in my direction. If I didn't take the full position, even if it's an A setup, not an A+ setup, then I can pyramid in and just add some buying power as we go lower. And you can keep doing this, but what will happen is you'll hit like a mental level where, let's say that loss, instead of being $500 for the day, is 10K. And I think at that point, it's probably a good idea to step off the gas and just kind of have like, fixed limits, dollar limits.
Got it. Alex, do you keep a trading journal? How do you use it, if so?
Yeah, absolutely. So I keep screenshots of every trade that I make every day, so win or lose. When I reflect back on it, I kind of try to see, what went wrong, or if there was some red flags which I could have identified earlier. And then I also track my daily P&L, so I know what my month looks like. And at the end of the month, I'll do like a major review. I have, let's call it 4 types of, I don't want to call them setups or strategies, just 4 types of trades that I mainly enter. I want to see if, one is leading and perhaps I should add more weight there. If something is lagging, perhaps I should cut it out. And yeah, it's just a process of refinement. That's what it should be.
Awesome. And Matt, how do you reflect back on your trades?
I don't really have a journal. I mostly just mentally store it all. You kind of know when you have a bad day, like what went wrong, and it's hard to forgive that. So I don't really do that, but market's always changing. So, if I lost today based off something, I can win that same trade next week if the market's different. So it's tough to keep a journal and for me to use it,
Got it. Well, I guess we're pretty much like getting to the end over here. I want to give both of you a chance to do a little plug. But Alex, you mentioned earlier that that's your gaming chair. So what games do you play?
Man, I've actually I've retired from games. I've built like a beast PC, which was for trading / gaming, and I got the monitors, I got the chair, I got the light up keyboard, but I'm doing anything but gaming. So at least it's comfy.
Sam, don't we feel old? No more gaming. I guess Matt, you want to take away, do a little plug? How can people find out more about you, get in touch with you, get one of those All-Star Trader shirts? let us know.
You can find me on the YouTube channel. I just pop over there, get free information every couple of days on options and stocks, and no crazy products I would push, but I also one of the creators of breadalerts.com for option flow data, large option flow and option selling. So those are the two things I'm a part of.
And Alex, what do you want to plug?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, you have me here at my capacity as a trader, but as you mentioned, Michael, I'm actually working at cTrader, which is, in my very honest opinion, the best FX CFD platform in the world. You guys at Scandinavian are a cTrader brokerage, so if anybody would love to try it out, go over to Scandinavian, speak with Michael, get a demo account, and get trading.
Yeah, I love it. Matt, Alex, I want to thank you both. There was actually a comment from someone over here, Ricky Boy Johansson. He likes your haircut, Matt. Something like that.
High five.
And everybody knows how to get in touch with Matt. Check out YouTube for Matt Giannino. Come trade on cTrader, open up a demo account, lose as many demo accounts as you want before you use real money.
Take this man's advice, start on demo, guys. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'll just plug away. If you're a profitable trader, you want to get more money to manage up to $2 million, go to scandinavianmarkets.com/fundmytrades. As well, we have a Telegram channel that I believe is listed at the bottom somewhere on the screen for daily analysis and insights. Come check us out.
Up to $2 million, man. Phenomenal. I don't think anybody else is doing that.
Yeah, well, you got to hit the key targets and stay within the risk parameters. But we got lots of investors that are always looking for traders to get behind. So
amazing.
Yeah. Again, Matt, Alex, thank you so much for joining, sharing your knowledge, and hopefully letting the traders know where to focus and they're not in this alone, because we're always looking at the chart saying, what the fuck? So thank you guys. Have a great one.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.